Welcome to AZ Solutions. What I'll be taking you through is how to create a simple budget. You can create these budgets using the ones that come with Excel. So if you go to File and New, you will find a window a little bit further down where you can put in your own search criteria. So in here, if we were to type in budget and hit enter, it will show you a range of templates that you're welcome to use. I just thought that for my example, these felt that they were a little bit more complex. So I wanted to create something that was very simple. So what I've done here is I've created a sheet for expenses. And in this one here, I have income, your income minus the expenses. Which is simply equals the income cell subtracting by the total expenses that you have here. The only reason that you're seeing this area here looking a little strange is because I've created this using the Format as Table tool, which is this little option over here. You can find more about formatting as table in my website, blogs under Excel. So what this tool is doing is treating it like a little bit of a database. So if you didn't use this format as table feature, that would be fine, and it would just be registering as cell C11 instead of what you're seeing here. I'll just always hit enter when you're done with your formula. Because I've used this tool, this format as table tool, it has automatically turned on the filters for me. And it also allows me to turn on the total rows. Once you're in the table, you will see a table design command. And when you click on it, you'll be able to click or tick the box that says total row. This will give you this row along the bottom edge here, which you can then choose and select that you want to perform a sum in that column. Now what I've added over here is the, let's say an example of your fortnightly income. And let's say for that week or fortnight, you want to work out, do I have enough money to pay my bills? So in this area here, you will have several bills. This will grow as you continue to enter in here. Some items you will have already paid off, and others you may be still deciding whether you can afford to pay it or not. So what we could do is select simply these two items here. Now, rather than pulling out the calculator and adding them up, which you're welcome to do, but you can, once you have selected those two, at the bottom right here, you will see the total. It says sum 630. So what you're then able to do is type your 630 into here, and the amount will be automatically calculated for you. The calculation is simply this cell here subtracting this amount here, which gives you what you can or how much money you've got left to spend. What I've also done for you to establish a total income over a period of month, week, quarter, or whatever you would like it to be, I've created a tab here called income. So simply by double clicking and typing in the word income to rename the sheet. So in this one here, you can type in the date and then type in the amount. When you're ready to type in the next week's entry, rather than right clicking over to here and saying insert and then typing what you need, what you're able to do is simply hit the tab key when you're at that 750 in the last cell. Simply press tab, tab again, type in the date. Let's say if I wanted to type in today's date, that would be control and semicolon, and that would give you the current date. And then you can type in your dollar amount. The minute you hit enter, you'll see how that figure's automatically being totaled. The reason I can press tab when I get to the end here is because, again, I've used this format as table feature, which allows it to all stick together and keeps it like a database. Now, what I've done in this area here, I'm just going to delete that one, is the month, just because later on you might want to work out how many of these dates belong to X month. You can easily look at it this way by doing a function called month. So it simply equals month and then refer to the cell that contains the date. The month is coming in as a numerical, but if you prefer not to look at it numerical, you could always change that by going into custom. Now if you type in an M for each digit, so if I type in 3 M's, it starts typing it out. Okay, that one's not working. All right, we'll leave it like this. So another thing we've done here is this total here has been linked to this one here. So it's simply a matter of saying equals, going to the income table here and selecting this figure here. So the way this one was done, so if I was to delete it, you simply say equals, click on income and click on the figure there. Hit enter and it displays here. If you wasn't created with a table and you linked it to a cell, it would be equals, and then you would go to the sheet or the cell and then hit enter. The way it would appear or display, you can see here it simply says equals and then the cell reference. If it was in another sheet, it would be equals the name of the sheet followed by an exclamation mark and then the cell. In here, in hours worked, a new sheet, so you can press the little plus sign here to create a new sheet each time. Once you've entered the date, what I've chosen to do is to display the date in the long format. And also here I've marked in the number of hours that I've worked. And then a description of what is it that I did in that hour. As I fill in the dates here, if a date falls on a Saturday, I wanted it to light up in colour. So what I've done there is selected the range of cells, or you can select the entire column. And when you come into conditional formatting, you would select new and use a formula to determine which is your cell format. Now, I've already done this in mine, so what I'm going to do is go into my Manage Rules, and under Manage Rules here, it's telling me this is the range of cells it's applying that rule for. So I could ask it to apply it to the entire column. And when I select Edit, the use in formula to determine which cells to format, I've used the nested function of the OR and the weekday function combined together. You'll find this in my website blog. And then select Format to apply whatever colour you would like every time it falls on a Saturday or a Sunday. And apply. What I've also added for you is a link. If you find that you need some help in working more efficiently in Outlook, there's some great helpful tips in that link there for you. Now, once you have this information entered in for several weeks or months, what you might like to do is see the hours collated by per day. So this data is used to create a pivot table. So in here, the pivot table is showing me a collection of everything that's happened for that one day and then giving me a total of hours that I spent on that day. Now, what you'll find is if you continue to enter more data in here, so if you enter another date, another set of hours and some kind of a description, yep, you'll notice that this one has not appeared. Not appearing in here until I refresh. So you can either press Alt F5 to refresh or go into Pivot Table Analysis and then you will find the refresh button there. And so now it's updated that. Now to create the pivot table in the first place, you need to make sure you have heading labels along the top and position your cursor somewhere in the data. You will then go to Insert and select Pivot Table. Now it may have picked up specifically cells A1 to C5. What you might like to do is alter that so that it picks up the entire column. That way you won't need to come in here to the table range and adjust it all the time to get it to include the next lot of cells or rows. So include the entire column, hit OK, and tick the option for date. That will group all of the same dates together and put them into the row area. And then the hours, you can either tick or drag to the values area. I also don't need, if there are any blanks to be displaying here, so I like to remove those by simply changing the filter and removing blanks from here. Also, I don't like the default labels, which is row labels. You can simply just type over that. I might say dates. I can't call it date because there's already a field actually called dates. So I will change this one here and call it hours worked. And there you have the pivot table. You don't need to have this area displayed. You can always close it. That way it's not being displayed for you. Okay, I'm just going to delete that pivot table. There we go. So I hope that's been helpful for you. It gives you a good idea on how to create a very quick and basic, simple budget that you can then adjust and tweak to your needs. Thank you for watching AZ Solutions.